going to make the website responsive. It's about time, don't you think? Okay, first a couple of little things. I think there's too much space around this headline, so I'm going to move this guy up and then move this to be centered between those. So I'm in live view over here. I'm going to move to the designer panel over here. I shall pick this, and then I'm going to come down here to this tag selector and select main because that's what I'm going to move up. I am going to show set of rules that are applied, and I'm just going to drag across this until it moves up to about there. Same thing here. I'm going to click here. Oh, and I got headline. That's what I wanted. I'm going to just slide that up like so. Okay, now saving. Next, we're going to make this responsive, so I want you to see what it looks like when it's not responsive. So I'm going to come here and show this in Google. No, I'm not. I'm going to show it in Firefox, which is already open. There we go. Okay, so you can see it is not doing a whole lot. I mean, that line's jumping down, but I don't like the way it breaks that line into with one word at the end here, but nothing else is really moving. So if I get down to my telephone size, then I'm going to be in trouble because all my content I would have to scroll over here for. Alrighty, let's put that back where it was and fix this. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab this navigation bar right here. So I'm making sure that I'm on the nav tag, and I'm going to change the width to a percentage. So right now I have a fixed width. So if I change this to percent, and then I say 90%, and then from the left, the position from the left, I'm going to change that also to a percentage. Any minute now. So percent, and I'm going to change that to 5%. And let's see, 90 plus 5 is 95, which leaves me 5% over here. So let's see if that works. Brian, you're saying to yourself, is that all there is to this responsive stuff? Yeah, pretty much that's what it is. Okay, I know it seemed really easy. Well, it's not really hard. You just got to get the math right, and the math is only addition, so I'm sure you can do it. I'm going to take my image in the header here, and I'm going to make it position from the left 5%. So 5%. Let's slide that one over a little bit. I'm going to go for this, which is headline. Headline is going to also be 5%. And maybe not. Maybe 6%, because I don't like the way I want it to line up with the headline, the logo above it. So 6%, we'll try that. That looks a little better. Not perfect, but it's just a video. Okay, and this, I'm going to go for the main, and I'm going to set its width for 65%, no, 60%. So 60%. And then its position from the left, I want it to be at 35%. Like I said, it just needs to add up to 100. So 60 and 35 is 95, and then that leaves me 5% over here. So let's go take a look and see what we've done. I'm going to do a save all, and then I'm going to preview in browser. And let's see if it changes this time. Oh, it's just like magic, isn't it? Okay, I don't like the way that the background is kind of static. I like to see more of it when I get down smaller, so let's go adjust that. Back over here. And for the background properties, it's in the body, right? So I'm going to go to Style, Body, and right here, here's that background image. I'm going to turn off the Show Set so that I can get to all of my properties and go to Background. So under Background, and here's where we set the location of the image, I have a couple of properties I'm going to change down here. One of them is the background size. I'm going to change it to cover. Alright, and the second one I'm going to change is the background attachment. I'm going to set to fixed. Okay, Now, I'm going to save again, do a save all, and we'll go back and visit this in a web browser so we can see what it looks like. Alright, now our background should shrink down with the image itself. So far so good. I do have some trouble. I have some trouble when I get down to about phone size because this line just doubled up down here. I really don't even like it when it does that because this to me is distracting. So we're going to change the way the website or change some of these rules so that when it gets down to about this size, I think it looks good until it gets to about here, that it will start changing. And this is the way we do that. First of all, I'm going to move all the CSS, right? So far we've been keeping it all in the code. So all the CSS has been up here in the head section of the code, and it starts right here where it says style, and it continues to go down here, it continues to go down here until it hits right here. So I could just copy this and paste it into a new document, but this is what I'm going to do instead. I am going to come over here to my designers panel, and I am going to check new source. Let me move this down so you can see what's going on. I'm going to click on new source. Oh, you can't see it, of course. Of course. There we go. Create new CSS file. What we're doing now is defining in the page. And if I had a CSS file that was external, and I wanted to attach it to this file, and so, or to this web page, so it would style it, I would choose attach existing. But right now I'm going to create a new one. So I need to browse to that new file, and when I browse, it's going to take me right here to the same folder that I've been working in. So there's my index, here's my workers, that's cloaked, here's all my images and my email JavaScript. I'm going to make a new folder, and my folder is going to be called CSS. So inside that folder, I'm going to put all this CSS, and it's going to be called Bruce.css. Okay? And you'll see what that looks like in just a minute. And oh, it comes back to this dialog box. Don't change anything here, and just say OK. So now, if I look over here, I have a new folder called CSS. If I open it up, I'll see that I have a CSS file inside of that. Still, all of my content is inside this document. The style brackets means this is in the document itself, so it's still in my code over here. I want to move it to the new Bruce CSS, which is out here and very lonely. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to click on that. I will shift select all of these, and then I'm just going to drag them and let them go in Bruce. It's a little anticlimactic because nothing really happens except that all of these styles that were internal are now gone. So it's just left us with this right here. In fact, I don't even need that anymore. I can just delete it. If I click on here, you'll see it's gone. And they've all been moved to Bruce, just like magic. Okay, so now they're external, which means that when I start duplicating my index page and calling the about page and the gallery page and whatever else, all of those pages will point to this Bruce CSS, which is right here at the top. Let me move this back over here. And right here you can see this link. This link says right at the beginning of the when somebody opens this up, it's going to say go look in CSS and style the page with Bruce CSS. So that is wonderful. The next thing I want to do is to, oh, this is nice. The web page is not broken. So that's good to know. The next thing I want to do is to fix that problem I had when we were scaling this down. So I got to figure out where exactly that problem starts. So what I'm going to do is right down here, you can see what size the window that I'm looking at is. And if I drag this way, I can drag it until about, I think, 750-ish. It looks okay. And then beyond that, it starts to get, this line starts to get too close over here, and then I've got trouble. So I'm going to write a rule that says if the screen goes below 750, then I want to change a few of the styles. Okay? And the way we do this is I'm going to click on Bruce. I am going to finally use this media query. That's what it's called, media query. I'm going to click on this, and I'm going to say media, maximum width. There's a lot to choose from here, but maximum width is probably one of the most common ones. I'm going to say 750 because 750 pixels is what I'm looking for. When I hit tab, here's the little code it's going to write for me, and I'll say OK. Now, if I select Bruce and max width, I can see I don't have any styles in here. And basically what I'm going to do is I'm going to override a couple of the styles. The word cascading means exactly that. It's cascading. It starts at the top, and if I say the color of the type is green at the top of the CSS, and then later in the CSS I say the color of the type is red, the first one's overwritten by the second one. So the last rule always wins. Okay? So here I want this, which I think is getting too thin, to get wider. So I'm going to click on this, get main, which is what I want to widen. I'm going to make sure that I'm on Bruce CSS, max width, and I'm going to make a new rule, and it's going to be for main. I'm pushing the up arrow key to make that less specific. And in main, before I had a width of 65%, and this time I'm going to go with 90%. 90%. And I'm also going to come down here. The position was 30% from the left, and I'm going to make this 5% from the left. Okay, so that leaves me 5% over here. So when it breaks down past this point, this will pop all the way across the screen. All right. The other thing that was troublesome, so I can slide this down, is that this kind of gets cut off or either started folding down on itself. So I'm going to change the rule for this. Now remember, this thing was dot headline. So Bruce, only on this media query, new dot headline, and I'm going to change the width to a fixed width of 450. I've tested this before, and that seems to work fine. 450 pixels, and I'll just hit enter, and you can see how that folds up there nicely, and that way I won't get that one single word ever. It'll just pop from 2 lines to 1 line. But it is now kind of smashing into the main, so I will take main again, and I shall move it down. So from the top, my position from the top is going to be scrubby. There we go. Keep going. About right there, I think. And that looks good for me. All right, so let's give this a save. Save all, and we'll try it out again. Back over here. All right, so here it is. Normal, 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 pop. Okay, so all the way down to phone size. I think that looks pretty good. And that is wonderful. Isn't that like magic? Just like magic. Okay, so let's go back, do a save all one more time, and when we come back on the next movie, we will style the navigation. See you then.